Hey guys, Wade Willis here for Wade's Movie Reviews. Coming here to talk to you guys today about the new Borat movie. Borat subsequent movie film, or Borat 2 if you prefer. And not gonna lie, I was really surprised when I heard this movie was gonna come out in the first place, just because Borat's so famous worldwide. I'm like, how can he make another movie? And I also expected when I heard this was coming out that it was going to be horrible. And I was kind of pleasantly surprised. I'm going to talk to you guys today about my thoughts of the movie as a whole. And then I will let you guys know I'll eventually get into spoiler territory and some scenes that I thought were interesting. But I'll let those of you that haven't seen the movie know when I'm going to get into that point. If you guys haven't already followed my channel, please do. I'm going to be doing other movie reviews in the future. I'm going to be covering The Mandalorian in depth, doing episode reviews, predictions, things like that. And then I do anime reviews every single week as well. Also, some comedy skit. And if you like the video, leave a like. Now, this movie takes place 14 years later. Borat is released from prison, and he's given a mission to deliver the Minister of Culture and top porn star Johnny the Monkey to Donald Trump. Not gonna lie, when I saw the thing of Johnny the Monkey being the Minister of Culture and top porn star for Kazakhstan, I did chuckle a lot. The whole plot of this movie is taking place because Borat's put in prison because he dishonored Kazakhstan. They have a horrible reputation now because of the movies. They release him from prison to try to get Donald Trump to, essentially for Donald Trump to respect Kazakhstan as a country and put them in good graces of Premier Trump. And because of his shitting in front of the Trump Tower situation in the first Borat, he decides that they should actually deliver Johnny the Monkey to Mike Pence instead. This movie has a newcomer, Maria Bakalova. This movie has a newcomer, Maria Bakalova, who plays his daughter in it, and she breathes life into this movie. Without her, I don't think this movie would have been good at all. She applied for this role with like open auditions from girls across the world. Over 600 people tried for this role, and I was beyond impressed with her. Obviously, this movie is like written by Sacha Baron Cohen, and I think some other people write it as well. But her acting in it and the chemistry between the two was incredibly surprising. I'm actually in shock with how good she did in this movie. And yeah, I think this might be like her third movie ever. And I think it was her first time ever in the United States. I had incredibly low expectations for this movie, especially after he came out with like The Dictator, and I really disliked that movie. And his series that I believe was on Showtime, This Is America, it was okay. A lot of the characters were kind of bland. He made fun of both sides a lot more in that, but again, it was a little bit stale, and I kind of written him off for these types of movies and roles. He's just too well known, and eventually you kind of run out of ideas, or so I thought. I still thought he was a good actor overall. I do actually like the movie Bruno better than the original Borat, but I understand most people feel the opposite way. But yeah, overall, I had extremely low expectations for this. This movie gives us everything you would expect from a Borat sequel or like Sacha Baron Cohen mockumentary. We see people that look like racists and or assholes in it because of things that they say or do. There's tons of unsuspecting people who are put in incredibly awkward situations, and you just feel bad for them. There's people who you can't tell if they're in on it or not. And there are some incredibly difficult scenes to watch that just make you feel like pretty uncomfortable. Or I knew this movie was happening initially because I saw that Sacha Baron Cohen was kicked out of a CPAC fundraiser event. Yeah, guys, this really exceeded my expectations. I already told you the bar was set low, but I actually thought it was pretty good. And the plot was actually better than I expected to. Again, his movies aren't known for like the best plot. It's held together with a string, but we got everything we could have really wanted. Was it ever going to be better than the original? Of course not. But again, adding Maria as his daughter in this, she was amazing, and yeah, just the chemistry between the two of them was fantastic. I have this as like probably his third best movie. I like Bruno the best, but I can recognize that Borat is probably a better movie. So those two are up at the top. Then I have this, and then like maybe the Diali G movie, and then The Dictator after that. And yeah, guys, this is where I'm going into like things that actually happened in the movie. So if you haven't watched it yet or don't want anything spoiled, this is the time to turn off now. One of the parts I thought was the funniest and like most disturbing in the movie, he goes to this cake shop and gets this lady to write some like an anti-Semitic thing on a cake, ends up buying like a cake for his daughter, and he takes her behind the dumpster and is like feeding her this. She ends up swallowing this plastic baby, and then they go into a crisis pregnancy center, and they're talking to this pastor who's anti-abortion, and whether you're pro-choice or pro-life doesn't matter. They're using like a double entendre or like double meaning for a lot of this stuff. He's talking about how it's his daughter, and then he accidentally put the baby in her, and they want to get it out, and they're talking about this plastic baby the whole time. But it seems like they're talking about trying to have her get a schmortion, and the father is the father of this child. This pastor must have felt incredibly uncomfortable in this whole scene, and I thought the way they did this with the double meanings was perfect, and that's what you expect like from a Sacha Baron Cohen movie. And this is like at a level that I haven't seen him get to in a long time. There's two people that I really felt like sorry for a bit, and the first one is that guy he's buying a phone from, and the guy's like teaching him how to use it, and the guy has it hooked up basically to like a screen so you can see what he's searching up, and Borat accidentally gets to like a Pornhub, but from his search, then like he realizes like this phone that he's thinking about buying, like, oh, I can find porn. So he like asks the guy like, hey, can I take this to the bathroom? And the guy's like so thrown off, and then he like goes to the bathroom, and we can see like the thing that what he's like typing into the Google search, and it's like tall white man with like I think it's like plus size like black woman or something, and the guy's just like, oh, I think he's figured out how to use it. And it's super funny. Again, this might be someone that could have been a plant, but the way he was acting seemed like pretty real to me, and he does come in later on. But again, a lot of these we don't know if the people are in on it or not. I really liked that role, but I'm just imagining if you're in that situation, like, what the hell are you supposed to do? I guess stop him from taking it to the bathroom, but I'm sure no one's ever asked him that before, and he's trying not to be rude with a foreigner. And then the other guy is the guy who's working, I believe it's a FedEx, and he's sending faxes back and forth to Kazakhstan, and he's getting faxes back that he has to read to Borat how he's going to be like tortured, talking about how he's like gonna offer up his daughter, and it's just, you're like, man, if this is real, I feel extremely bad for this faxing guy who's just like an innocent bystander, and he's not really doing anything wrong here. And it is important to note, I thought it was cool how it was funny how he is trying to play like he's playing Borat, but then Borat's trying to play an American as a disguise because people recognize him now because he's famous in America. So they had a lot of fun with that, and it was pretty hilarious a lot of times. Now, I brought up people who look like racist or bad. This is my doucher category. The lady who agrees to write the anti-Semitic thing on the cake, she's on this list. The sugar baby coach who tells Borat's daughter, like, she says she's looking for like an older man, like close to dying, and she's like, oh yeah, you want to find someone who just got a heart attack. Not a great person. Then there's the guy at the debutante ball who says that he essentially says that he would pay $500 if Borat's daughter was a prostitute. And she's playing a 15-year-old in this. So, again, that guy's disgusting as well. Now, the QAnon people, they don't look good because at one point they say that the Democrats are like more dangerous than the coronavirus, and just they say a lot of crazy things. Part of me, I know that they had to be coached at least slightly because so much of the plot is dependent on them. So I think they might have these ideals. They made QAnon people who are pretty wild in general, but he made them look really ridiculous. And if those guys are serious, not looking good. And essentially everyone that was at the rally, they tough look for those people as well. And I'm going to get to them in my next category I'm talking about. And this is the most difficult to watch scenes. Now, the debutante ball with the whole moon blood where his daughter's flow is heavy and she's like showing it off. It was just, again, like, I'm not saying periods are gross, but that scene is gross. Just, it is hard to watch. The rally was also incredibly hard to watch. Just, Borat goes up there and he's singing a song and getting like all these people who think that this COVID is like a hoax. All of these people, he's singing a song and they're filling in words about how they think they should like kill these people, and or they hope they get COVID. And it's a bad look, and it shows truly how divisive this country is. I thought it did a pretty good job in that, because it's sad that people would just like go along with that. And then for me, the toughest scene to watch, and I know Sacha Baron Cohen, I believe, is actually Jewish, but he goes into a synagogue and he's dressed in like what Borat believes is like a stereotypical, like looking like a stereotypical Jewish person to him in the movie. And it's just, I see why they did it in the story. It was tough for me to watch. And in the first Borat, the person that you felt the worst for was like the nice Jewish lady that's in the movie that owns the bed and breakfast and stuff. I felt really bad for her in this, and I felt bad for the Jewish ladies in the synagogue too. I don't know if it was planned before, but I see why they had it in the movie. I didn't necessarily like it, or it was just like really tough for me to watch. But I'd love for you guys to let me know in the comments, like, what scene was the most difficult for you to watch? I'd love to know. And then my like final category that I'm going to discuss before I talk about the ending, and that is like, were these people in on it or not? And the African American lady, Janice Jones, who's like a professional babysitter, she's one, like, she was, I really liked her in the movie. She's an incredibly likable character. I think she must have slightly been on it because her role was incredibly important to the plot, and she had like a lot of like really touching scenes with Tutar Borat's daughter, she just knocked it out of the park. She was my second favorite person other than Borat's daughter in the movie. She was awesome. But again, was she in on it? Wasn't she? It's kind of cool how they have this in the mockumentary. I would just like to believe that Janice is like that cool of a person in real life. And then again, the QAnon people, I assume that some of it was coached because of, again, so much of the plot was dependent on them. But they did seem like they really believed in some of the QAnon conspiracy stuff. So I think both of these groups, like Janice and then the QAnon people, they are, I think that's probably how they are really as people, and then they kind of coach them through certain scenes and stuff. But I could be wrong. And like, is there anyone else you thought was in on it from the start? I'd love to know what you guys think. But those are the two groups that I think stuck out. Like they were way too important to the plot to not be in on it, in my opinion. And then, of course, the whole Rudy Giuliani thing. And it ended up being a lot more tame than I expected from like the leaked photos and stuff. It did to me, and I don't like Rudy Giuliani personally. Rudy Giuliani post 9/11, great job. Rudy Giuliani lasts like 4 years, super wacko in my opinion. Not to get too much into politics, but he says wild things all the time, and not a huge fan. They made it look like from the photos that they showed right before the movie came out that he was like trying to undo his pants. It did look like he was kind of like tucking his shirt back in after she was took off his microphone. He was pretty creepy leading up to that point though, and I think it was necessary for them to, we'll never know what would have happened, but it was necessary for the movie to like still remain a movie, to stop it where they did, because they could have had some major issues if they would have let it go any further. And guys, not gonna lie, I loved the twist at the end. I thought it was really funny that like essentially they made a Borat patient zero. They injected him with coronavirus and they sent him around, and you go back and you realize like when he rides on that ship, he's been to like Wuhan, and the Tom Hanks cameo in Australia I thought was hilarious. And again, they were kind of copying The Usual Suspects, and they made it seem like that too. But I did not expect it, and it was really funny to me. And I don't know, I'd like to know if anyone else thought it was as funny as me, but I did not expect that twist. I did not expect a twist at all at the end of the movie. And I know that there are some people who are bothered by Borat, kind of like understands that he's like been misogynistic and stuff. They have the running of the Americans at the end, and they have these like stereotypical like the worst type of Trump voters. One of them's a Karen, and I'm sure Karens across the country are going to be offended by this. And then they have them they portray them as like spreading the coronavirus, like puking all over the place, and they try to like take out like a caricature of Fauci. And honestly, like Borat is like, it's in your face. I thought this was totally fine. I could see why people would be offended by it, but again, it's a joke. And for how the movie was, I thought it fit in. It kind of made sense for being in there that way. But yeah, guys, overall, I did like this movie. Is it Sacha Baron Cohen's best movie he's like created himself? No. But it was pretty good, and I would suggest, if you like Borat, you should watch this, and I think you will be pleasantly surprised. It's not better than the first, but I think if you get his humor, you will enjoy this as well.